Poke, I know you're back. Hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Central Crown. And let's introduce ourselves. Man with the D on.
What's
What
up,
you
everybody?
doing?
I'm Steven. You can find me at Rising Tigers on X, and I give you all the unbiased Tigers information, talking about the direction of the organization, talking about the here and now, talking about the yesterday if it's important. But I try to assess things fairly. Right now, there's a lot to assess, and so we're gonna do a little off the cuff yap sesh tonight.
Mike.
What's up, y'all? It's Mike. Y'all can find me on X at @1fry_JR. Let's get to it.
And you can find me, C Money, or Chris on at Crazy Hockey Fan on X. You can also find me on One Pride Nation _24 on Instagram. So, like you said, it's gonna be a yap session. What's gonna happen is Steven is going to talk for like 2 hours. No, I'm not. I'm just kidding. Like, he's gonna talk for a long time, and he'll probably ask us periodic questions or something in between. And we'll also probably be thinking of topics that we could talk about or suggestions. But it's basically a yap session for the entire time that we're on here. So take it away, Steven.
Let's do it. All right.
Mhm.
So let's address the question that's in the title real quick. What's wrong with the Tigers? I don't really think we need to talk that long on it. I just want to start there. I think it's pretty obvious what's wrong with the Tigers. They got dealt a death blow when Riley Green got injured. It was just too much to overcome when they already had the odds stacked against them. And the bullpen was always a problem. And so those things happening concurrently means that any kind of offensive uprising we've had during that period, with our lineup just not being as scary without him, it's just been a punch right to the trachea every time Mike Tyson is targeting us. But I want to take this opportunity to talk about whether or not I feel that this season is disappointing in general, because we can all collectively agree that this was a disappointing regular season. That I think that's obvious. I don't really think that's an interesting storyline at all, because we can all agree this has not gone how we expected it to. But I want to start by going back to April 28th. I don't know if you guys remember that day, but in my opinion, it was the moment that this season was probably, I mean, it's not over yet. The wild card in the AL is crazy, but the 28th was a really, really bad omen. And it was kind of when things started to stockpile and when this season just became a nightmare. And Will Vest at this point was already injured, and he was really our most reliable bullpen guy coming into this year. But then on the 28th, both Casey Mize and Javi Baez got injured long term. Javi Baez stayed off the field for about 2 full months. And Casey just started having a series of groin injuries that kept him off the field for good chunks of this year and are probably affecting him in San Diego as we speak. And that was kind of the moment that turned the season, in my opinion. I think before that, we had a really, really good shot to make a run to the playoffs, be the best team in the division. And it's really funny because that day was just so big in the sense that from there, in the next week, we lost pretty much half of the core of our team. Gleyber Torres went down with a re-aggravation of his right oblique. Tarek Skubal had a bone chip in his elbow that he knew about since this offseason, but didn't need to do anything about, apparently. Kerry Carpenter got injured a few days later with his AC joint that kept him out for a decent chunk of time. And the fact of the matter is that we had to trust half of our core to try to win games. And it was not the better half of our core. It was the more undecided half. It was Riley Green. It was Spencer Torkelson. Obviously, we still had Kevin McGonigal and Dylan Dingler, but when Green and Torque were not providing the thump that they did in 2025, it put a lot of pressure on those two guys. Not to mention, because of this pile up of injuries, that we were batting three guys that batted under 300 nightly. I see, obviously the month of May stunk for us, and there were a lot of wrong decisions made, but it wasn't all bad decisions. Some of it really was just Detroit Lions caliber of bad luck. And I want to point out an important stat that came from the end of the month of May, which I'll never talk about again after this moment because I hated that month. We ended that month with 14 blown saves. Not in the month alone. We had accrued 14 blown saves by June 1st. We have 28 blown saves today. So half of our blown saves occurred before June 1st. And it was an omen of things to come. And Will Vest eventually was done for the year after just clearly being unhealthy the whole time. And we just kind of had to piece together this bullpen. And the next date that I want to cite is July 28th, because July 28th was the day that Scott Harris decided he was going to trade Tarek Skubal. And that was, let me make sure I've got my dates right, because I believe that is correct, but I just want to make sure I'm not saying the wrong day. It is indeed the wrong day. Let's see, July 29th. Yeah, July 29th. Sorry. I caught myself. July 29th was the day we decided to trade Tarek Skubal because we led that game 7-0. We were dominating, and the bullpen blew it. And that changed the course of our season. We played valiantly, but we did not have the depth to survive an injury of the magnitude of Riley Green. So that is really what defined our season. Yeah, losing Green has been just atrocious for us. I mean, really what it is, I've already said it, but I'll reiterate it because I feel it's extremely important. Riley Green makes our lineup more scary. And when the lineup is more scary, every single guy around him gets better pitches to hit. Dylan Dingler gets better pitches to hit. Kevin McGonigal gets better pitches to hit. Gleyber Torres gets the same pitches to hit because he's going to take them anyway, and I love him for it. Torkelson gets better pitches to hit. Keith gets better pitches to hit. Pitchers have been pitching us tougher. And, obviously we're disappointed that the Royals are kind of taking a beating to us right now, but they've won 5 in a row. It's going to be 6 in a row after tonight. Did the White Sox sweep expose the Tigers as pretenders instead of contenders? I would say no. I would say it's not that simple. I would say the White Sox series was more so just symbolic of how important Riley Green is to this lineup. I would say we weren't necessarily pretenders. We were playing a really good and repeatable style of baseball through that point. But, you can only put up with having a terrible bullpen like we have when your offense is highly productive. You can overcome a bad bullpen with a great offense in the regular season. But without Riley Green, we are just such a large piece shorter. And so I just ultimately believe that right now they're dead. They're playing dead baseball. It's not their fault. But what I've been really encouraged about is the fact that Scott Harris has allowed the development of the organization to shine in these last few weeks. Not just with the call-up of Max Clark that we've talked about ad nauseum, but also with this recent call-up of Brett Callahan. And Brett Callahan's looked pretty good, right, boys?
Yeah, he's definitely had some moments. I think all the young players that we've called up, they've done some good stuff out there. But as far as a team winning perspective, man, since that White Sox series, it's just going to hell in the handbasket right now.
Yeah, what do you think, Chris? Kind of the same?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because even when Green was here, you could see it inside of games. It's like you would play like maybe like 4 or 5 innings, and it's just like they're up there just playing, and then all of a sudden they were just like, all right, guys, it's time to start playing. And then one person get a hit. It was like hitting became what's it called?
Infectious.
Infectious. Yeah. So a couple of guys need to get hit to get it going. Otherwise, you're not going to get like one guy get a hit or a double, and then that's it. One guy get a hit or a double, maybe get a run. Like we don't have that thing where we can put one run here, one run there, just to keep you in the game. It's just like a whole bunch of runs, and then we go cold again. Like, oh, we got this, and then they just go back to like striking out, lining out, doing a sit down. Like it seems like it took a couple of people to get you going, and we worked in groups, and then that was it. So now it's just like we're like dried up. Like
Yes.
no, we're not producing anything right now. It's like there's nobody. I mean, mind you, like Dylan Dingler. I mean, I feel bad for that guy because I mean, he I don't know what he got to do to. He need a freaking rest. Is what like a full rest. Like we're not playing you even in a pinch hit role. Like you need to sit on the bench. And mind you, it's hard to tell a baseball player you don't need to hit, but he needs a rest. He needs a day off, like a full day off. But. It's hard to say that to a baseball player or any sports player, but we're going through a rough patch right now, and this is when we actually need to continue to play well because we're still in contention, but man, our bullpen is killing us.
Yes, and a point that I want to cite just to kind of use as my evidence that I don't think that we're pretenders necessarily is that we still came into today's game with a run differential of plus 82, which I believe, I think this is true. You can fact check me if you want, C-Money. I believe that would make us the highest run differential in MLB history to have a losing record. Which means that...
Yeah.
I believe so, and if it's not, it's been a long time since someone had a run differential that good and didn't have more wins than losses. Yeah. Even the 2023 Padres, a team that was like historically snake bitten, still won 82 games. Yeah, that's a good question. I think they have the heart. I think at this point, they have to somehow keep the pulse alive, if that makes sense. I don't know how you generate the pulse. I do. The next point I'm gonna cite is that we are calling up Andrew Sears tomorrow. It's already been announced and confirmed by Emily Walden. And so tomorrow, Andrew Sears will make his MLB debut at some point in the game. I don't know if he'll be a bulk guy or if he'll be an opener or even a late reliever. But the thing about Andrew Sears is that he's a lefty that throws in the low to mid 90s. He's 23 years old, and he has the nickname Psycho.
Well,
I want us to kind of do some math real quick. What does that sound like? A lefty, 23 at debut, nickname Psycho, throws 93 to 95.
Johnny Rocker.
Good guess. This is an outlandish take, and I don't think he's actually going to be this because the minor league numbers are a little different. Not terribly different, though. Closer than you'd think. But those pieces remind me a little bit of the makeup of Tarek Skubal when he entered Major League Baseball.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean...
Because... I mean, John Rocker. That said, Sears would need to get the velo up, and he would need to add plus command in order to really profile like Skubal in the major leagues, but his ERA for his career is below 3 in the minors, and he has improved his command at pretty much every level. High strikeout numbers, low hit numbers. It's going to be a really exciting debut for him, I think. I have no idea how it will go because he only has 2 appearances at AAA. But I really like the fact that Scott Harris isn't holding back the prospects anymore. I'm excited about that fact because it's clear that the guys on the major league roster are not going to get the job done at this moment in the bullpen or on those bullpen days. Do you have any update on whether or not I was right about the run differential?
Are you talking about over the history of the league?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how far back are you counting?
Like 1900.
Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of them.
Really?
Yeah, but I'm not. I haven't gotten the exact data yet. I'm trying to get to be 100% sure. Maybe I may have the wrong stat because right now the 2006 Cleveland Indians hold the record for the highest positive run differential with a losing record, and they had a plus 88 with a 78 and 84 record. So it's
Okay.
close. It's close. We're getting really close.
We still
Okay,
got
so
time too, man. We
highest.
still got 33 more games after today.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah,
I don't know the
and
rest. I don't know the rest of them down the line. That's what I'm trying to look for right now.
yeah, and I mean, I think either way, the numbers are really, really slim ultimately. But to answer your question, oh, Mike, do you have a point?
I was just saying that last question she asked, and this next question she asked is pretty good too. But I want to refer to the last one before we touch that one. So I think they do have the heart, they have the will and determination to get back into the playoff race. But do they have the talent? That's the question. Like you can have the heart, you can have the will, the desire, but do you have the actual talent to get in this playoff race? Because I tell you what, if we on pace to lose another game tonight to these Royals, and yeah, matter of fact, we down our last out. So yeah, if we lose tonight, that's winning one game out of the last 8 games. You don't get in the playoffs like that. We had the last wild card spot, even though we were tied for it. We still had that last wild card spot. We were only 2.5 games out of the division before we even played the Chicago series. So if we would have swept them, we would have been a division leader too, and we would have made more headway for the wild card. But now, before tonight started, we were down. I think 2.5 out the wild card, and fell down to 6 out of the division. So you can't win one out of the 8 games and expect to continue to be in the playoff race, whether that be the wild card or division race. Just can't do it.
Fully agreed. And this next question, can Andrew Sears give the struggling Tigers pitching staff the spark they need? I don't know if he alone could do it. I mean, maybe it would be fun to imagine that, but really the fact is we have 3 guys in the bullpen that I just think are unusable in high leverage situations right now. I think those are Kyle Finnegan, Tyler Holton, and Kenley Jansen. And unfortunately, those are the guys we're using in high leverage situations. They're the guys that we kept around to pitch those innings, which means that it's a bullpen construction issue because there are 5 arms I actually would count on to get outs. Wagasback being one. Madden looks pretty good. I like Drew Summers as a potential late inning guy going forward. De Jesus has actually been pretty solid the past month and a half. And why am I blanking right now? There's another very important name that I'm missing, and I can't remember. Who am I missing right now?
I'm trying to think. I just, man, this bullpen. We knew it was going to be the Achilles heel. I don't think it's going to be one guy that comes up. Even if Andrew Sears comes up and absolutely kills it and shreds everybody, he's not. Person is not going to be enough. Like we need a complete overhaul, but that's not going to happen to the off season. Like some of these guys just got to go. They just
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that because that brings me to another point. I want to talk about a potential overhaul and what that could look like going into next year. I think that's going to be really heartbreaking for some people because there's going to be some guys I think should go that are beloved. And we'll talk about potentially how to replace them, what options we have in the organization, but also the money that those decisions will clear up. I think the most obvious choice is just to let Jack Flaherty walk. I thought that he pitched valiantly when he was in between injuries in June and early July before he got hurt again. But he is not worth $20 million in his current state. That'll bring our salary down a lot. I think you obviously let Kenley Jansen walk. And then you just remember the fact that between Casey Mize and Tarek Skubal, we freed up automatically another $38 million from our payroll next season. That right there, before we really get into the deep kind of numbers, is already in the mid 60s of dollars cleared up before we even talk about what the new CBA agreement will end up being. No idea what that's going to look like for next season's viability, but we know that baseball is going to look different in the off season when the agreement is eventually signed. And so clearing up $65 million regardless is going to be a good thing, because even if a floor and cap are instated, and even if they're not, even if we just see the luxury tax go away, we will be in a position to spend a lot of money without overspending and get starting pitchers to recreate the kind of depth that we had this season before all the injuries. I mean, I think we can all agree that there are many young arms on this roster that look really good, but you realistically aren't going to win a World Series with a bunch of 23 and 24-year-olds. You'd like to have a 29-year-old workhorse to throw back there. You'd love that to be Framber Valdez, but is that going to be your guy next year after the season he's had? Put in Jake Outman. Ah, boy.
Hey,
James.
I like Jake Outman now. Come on now.
I'm not dissing him. But Jake?
Yeah, I know.
Anyways,
hey, Steve is right too, man. Because I mean, that schedule, man, it appeared easy, but it's beating our ass right now.
You're right.
Man, you still gotta go out and play the games, man. The schedule could look as easy as it wants to, but you still gotta go out and perform, play the games, and win these games, man. You can't just show up and think you're gonna get a win.
Our players aren't the only ones playing for contracts and stats every game. I mean, there's that other roster that you're playing against is doing the same thing you're doing. So, like, I mean, they got to play for their contracts just as much as we do. We like our Tigers, but who's that? Royals like their Royals. Like, I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. Just because it looks good on paper, don't mean nothing.
Yeah, and to piggyback off these guys, and really it kind of just enhances my point. I think we're past the time of year where an easy schedule really matters. I think every single team is playing their hardest, and it's actually more likely that the teams that have played really well the past couple months are going to start to cool off. That's generally how this goes, just because to play high-level baseball every single day for 162 games is exhausting. And that's why you love to have young talent, because young talent is going to stay fresher.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you like to have veteran talent, because veteran talent really knows how to, they know how to keep themselves in the game every single day. I think right now we are kind of stuck with too many of both, but I think it's okay to have, I think it's okay to have a philosophy for your organization to go young and to add veterans to a young core. I expect that to be the direction we go in, and we will see next season, because I've said this countless times, and you guys are going to be sick of hearing me say this, but I really believe that Scott Harris had just not enough attachment to this current core to make difficult roster decisions this season. And so he's really waiting until 2027 to truly run this team the way he wants to. I think he's been kind of restricted because, like you said, the Royals love the Royals. I mean, there are definitely some diehard Spencer Torkelson fans out there. There are some diehard keep Scooble on the Tigers fans, and that, I'll be honest, that was about 99% of us. The 1% that were like, trade him, we're just like, he's gone anyway. That was a very pessimistic outlook, but nobody really wanted him gone. And that's the main thing that we're dealing with here, is that at the beginning of the year, we actually had a surprisingly high average age on the roster. And as the season's gone on, Verlander's not even on the 40-man roster anymore because 60-day IL. Kenley Jansen's the oldest guy on the team, and we only have a couple other players over 30 on this roster. And so all of a sudden, we're back to one of the youngest rosters in Major League Baseball. And we figure to stay that way for a while, because Kenley's not going to stay. So you're going to drop at least a year or two on your average there. And then are you even going to keep your older 20s players? Are you even going to keep Javi Baez? And that's the next person I want to talk about. Is it worth keeping Javi Baez next season, even though, it really feels like he's been integral to this team. I'm gonna discuss this last because I have some interesting things I want to say, but I want to throw this question out to you guys and to the audience. How do you guys feel about keeping Javi Baez for 2027 and not trying to shed a portion of his payroll?
See, the thing, it depends on what we see, what we get. Like you can't say, well, if I get this, then I would love to. Like you have to make the call before the season starts. Like you have to shed before you see the production. Like you'll never know until it happens. So like this year's been kind of wonky because he was injured. So, that's a tough one. I mean, what do I want? I would love to shed the payroll, but look, this is how I look at it. Because this year there is no salary cap, so we could have a $500 million payroll, and it doesn't matter between that and $100 million payroll. You're not getting penalized for anything, so it doesn't really matter to me how much you shed or how much you keep. Now, next year, if we even play next year or how much we play next year, if we do end up with a cap, that changes everything then.
Yes.
Then I would say, like, okay, well, if it's a hard cap and we have to stay under it, Baez is gone. Like, you're shedding $26 million, 25 or whatever he's doing. I'm shedding that, and I'll bring up another player. I'll bring up a rookie or something, or I'll sign a low quality veteran player for half that could probably do the same thing that he does,
And I'm excited to talk about exactly that, but I want to hear Mike's thoughts.
Yeah, I'm with Steve and getting money on this one. I've wanted him off the team a couple seasons ago, so one more year, I'm not mad at it. We don't know what's going to happen and take place in this offseason. We don't know how many games they're going to play, if they actually even play any games next season. At this point, I don't even care. Just let them play the one last year. Ain't going to be nothing too bad from that. And we're already shedding a lot of salary anyways as it goes, so I don't think adding his will do particularly anything that much for our organization. So let the 1 year play out and then keep it moving.
Yeah, exactly. And so kind of what I want to make clear before I go into my thoughts about this, I agree with both of you. I don't think there's a right answer here. I don't think that you can make a wrong choice. And my reason why is because technically, I'm going to get to that, Steve. Great question. I'm going to get to that next. But I want to make it very clear. Javi Baez's highest value season on the Detroit Tigers was 2022. And he was not good that year. That was a 2.4 WAR season where he batted 220 something, hit 17, I believe. Yeah, 17 home runs. 278 on base percentage.
That's disgustingly gross.
It's really bad. I unfortunately, I do not want to crap on Javi. I have loved his style of play, but as a Detroit Tiger, his on base percentage is 268. And this season, it's 284.
Yeah, I mean, even in his 5 years, he's got a 627 OPS. The average OPS in baseball is 740.
Yep.
So if the average is, and you're at 627, that's rough. That's rough.
Yeah, by OPS plus, which weighs everything with 100 being average, that would put him at roughly a 69 or 70, which is terrible. It's unusably awful. A replacement level player would be comparable to that. And so, I don't want this to be the diss Javi session because I know that his intangibles, his attitude as a teammate, his work ethic, and his ability to play center field, as Steve just mentioned, has been crucially important to the Tigers the last 2 seasons. But I do want to mention one prospect that I think is really interesting that has flown under the radar for reasons I don't really get, and that is a fella named John Peck. Have either of you guys heard of John Peck?
I think you told me. I think I think you mentioned him before.
That name
didn't you?
sounds familiar.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. It sounds really.
So he was a spring training invitee, same draft class as Clark, McGonigal, Anderson, Sears now, Callahan now. An extremely talented draft class that might go down as one of the most talented ever taken, just because it looked so good early on. And he was taken in the 8th or 9th round, so pretty low. So he fell, pretty far out of prospect consideration. But I do want to talk about him
Yep,
because
I got his stuff up and everything. So
yeah, I pulled up his prospect savant, but I forgot to pull up his actual baseball reference,
I
so I can talk about his numbers.
I pulled up his scouting report and stats right now. So
Yeah, his scouting report paints a very ugly picture that I don't necessarily agree with. But I will say,
go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll let you.
no,
talk.
you're fine. You're totally fine. I appreciate it.
Mhm.
In the minor leagues, he has a 786 OPS over 4 seasons and a 286 batting average with an on-base percentage of 353 and 79 stolen bases. And this sounds low, but it's because it's very top heavy. 25 home runs in those 4 years. However, 22 of those 25 have been hit in the last 2 seasons. He hit 0 in 2023 in a 17-game sample, and he hit 3 in 2024 at age 21 in a 73-game sample, where he still posted a 762 OPS. The reason why I'm talking about John Peck right now and not Max Anderson, someone a little bit more proven, is because I think John Peck looks a lot more like Javi Baez on a prospect sheet than Max Anderson does. Max Anderson doesn't have the legs. He doesn't have the raw pop that Javi Baez does. But a couple of things that I'm kind of excited about are that, for example, in 2025, he batted .301 and hit 11 homers, 27 doubles over 118 games, while being an everyday shortstop and stealing 19 bases. A couple of things that were talked about in spring training that I was really excited about is that Dan Dickerson and Jason Benetti constantly talked about how fast he was, how impressive his glove work and his accuracy of throws are. And that reminds me of Javi Baez. It's a guy with a very similar makeup. He's fast. He plays great defense, great baseball instincts, hustler, high batting average. But also, another thing that's really interesting about him is that he's not the most disciplined guy in terms of plate discipline.
Yeah.
That 353 career on base percentage in the minors is deceptive. It makes it seem like he's some disciplined guy, but he actually strikes out a decent amount, and he does damage with regularity. I mean, his slugging percentage this year was .504 before he got injured. He had posted 29 extra base hits in 65 games. That's remarkable. And as a primary shortstop, and he was on the same team with other shortstops. He was on the same team as man, I'm trying to remember his name now. The kid, Peyton Graham, the guy who has like 50 plus stolen bases at AA right now. He was his teammate, and he was the one playing shortstop between the two of them.
Wow.
And so I just, in my mind, that reminds me of Javi Baez. He's now at AAA. He's rehabbing at High A after I think he tweaked a hammy. And I'm really, really intrigued to watch him in spring training next season. Because if we do decide to shed some of Javi's contract, I mean, we're not going to be able to outright cut him and lose his salary unless the CBA allows us to do that. But we could trade him to a team that's very shortstop hungry, and they could eat half his contract. And I wouldn't really worry about what we get in return because he's a -5 WAR player in a season that's actually one of his better as a Tiger. That said, I see the logic for keeping him. He's a veteran player. He's got great instincts, great arm at shortstop, and just really well liked around Detroit because of his performance last year and because of how clutch he was in the playoffs. But I think John Peck is a guy with similar makeup that could not be Javi Baez, but he could serve as a guy producing Javi Baez value on this roster.
And he's projected to come up next year too. So I mean, I'm looking at it, and he's a right-handed bat too. So like,
yes, which furthers the Javi comparisons. He's really interesting. And the thing about John Peck is he would be another right-handed bat that plays middle infield, so that's just yet another Hao-Yu Lee, Max Anderson type of guy. Creates a conundrum, and it's a good conundrum. It's the kind of conundrum you want to have. Young guys that all have really good skill sets that play middle infield positions. You want them to play their way onto the field. That's what you want.
Yeah.
The problem is that well, not the problem, actually, the good thing. Javi Baez, the last 2 weeks, doesn't have a hit. Or not the last 2 weeks, like the last stretch where we've been really rough, he doesn't have a hit. And I think that's just kind of where he is now. I think that if you bring him back next season, it's not a hurt to the team, but it's not a plus either. I think it's a net neutral. He does some great things, but I think McKinstry does similar things on this roster. And that's where I'll go next. I want to make sure I get your guys' thoughts in before I continue.
Yeah, I'm just looking at something real quick here. Just looking. Yeah, let's see, 2026, 24 million. So he makes 24 million next year.
Oh, so, yeah. That's actually 3 less than I thought.
Yeah, he makes 24 million next year. So that's a little bit. Yep. And then let's see. Yeah. Yep. 24 million. I thought there might be less, but yeah. Yep.
Mike, you got a thought?
No, I don't have anything to add there. But it will be nice seeing some of these younger guys get opportunities not only this season but next season as well, where it comes to spring training and starting out next season. Like, I don't know, man. Like I said before when we was doing the pre-show, when we were talking, like, this is like at least the third or fourth stretch of games where I'm just like so apathetic to what this team is on the field.
I didn't hear that, like the last 2 words it cut out for me.
Oh, okay. I was just saying, like, when we were talking before we went live, I was like, this is like the third or fourth time, at least this season, where this is a stretch where I just have so much apathy. It's like, man, like, we did all this work to get back in it, even after making the trade at the deadline, and everybody assumed we would be dead, but we were up there, man. We were up there in the standings. We were doing good. We were winning games. We were winning series. Like, at one point, we had won, I want to say 8 or 9 of the last 14 series. To revert back to this point, it's just, man, it's sad.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, and I do remember that conversation. I'm gonna go back. Chris, can you go back and find Steve's comment about Parker Meadows and Zach McKinstry? I can't remember who the third person was.
Yeah, it's right up here. Give me a second.
No prob. Okay, should we keep McKinstry, Carpenter, and Meadows? Yep, good question. In terms of McKinstry, I think, like Javi Baez, I think it could go either way. McKinstry does add positive value to the team simply just by being positionally flexible and a plus defender in the outfield. And he's a good base runner. Like, those things are just things that are not the norm on this team, but are becoming the norm. So the more it becomes kind of like a standard, like, I love what I'm seeing from Malgeri, Callahan, and McGonigal and Clark on that front, but they're also just starting. I need to see them maintain it. I think McKinstry is a great gap player to keep us on that front, but we could also sign someone who's a little bit of a better player than McKinstry to do that same thing. And we could also keep Javi to represent that exact role. Like, I think that if you keep one, you shouldn't keep the other, if I'm being honest. I think they serve the same purpose. And I think there are guys in the minor leagues that can replace each of them, just because neither of them is a one or more WAR player. I don't even know if I can really call McKinstry's 2025 a hit. I think he scratched and clawed his way to an all-star game, but he was a first-half guy that died in the second half. And this season, he's been pretty solid in the second half. I think that he's just a one-half player. I think that's just how he is. On to Kerry Carpenter. We've talked ad nauseum about him the last few shows because there is a lot of attachment and sentiment when it comes to Kerry Bonds. And, you know, Steve himself said that it's not really fair to call him that. But I think that in terms of Kerry, he has options left. So unless you get a really, really good trade for him, I don't think you should let him walk. I think it will break his heart to be sent down to the minor leagues because he's become such a vital piece, and he's now been a big leaguer for almost 5 years. But if there is somebody like Callahan that is functioning better in this offense, then I think stash him, and see if you can get him to get healthy and find his swing again, because that 2024 run was worth him being a full-time DH and a bad defender. It was 100% worth that. He was as good as anyone. And so, I think that's ultimately the thing. In terms of Parker Meadows, I don't really see why you would let him go. He's got significant team control because of all these injuries. He's lightning fast, great defender in center field, at least a decent bat. I don't necessarily think he fits the roster, so shop him for sure. And but I believe he still has a minor league option left next season, if I'm not mistaken. If I am mistaken, then no, I don't think we should. Because I think Max Clark has earned the right to get an extended look in center field. And I think there are guys on this roster that could play center field if needed, like Callahan, like Malgeri, unfortunately, like Vierling too. Like there are guys that can do that if Max Clark falters for whatever reason. But even if he's just a glove, he's still the same as Parker Meadows. You get what I mean? When I say, like,
Steve, you're correct. He does have one option left. Parker
Okay, good.
Meadows. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah.
But yeah. I want to bring it back to Andrew Sears, but not just Andrew Sears. I want to bring it back to some of the ways that I think the bullpen is going to be restructured next year. And I want to see what you guys think. This might be the last thing I dwell on because I want to let you guys have your times, and I've eaten up a lot of time. But in terms of the bullpen, I think the obvious guys we need to let go are Jansen, and as much as it probably will pain some people, I think Tyler Holton probably needs to go too. I know that he's performed decently well, but I just feel like pitching chaos has kind of elevated the fact that he's a high 2 ERA guy, but the whip is just not under 1 anymore. When it was under 1, it was worth throwing a guy out there with a 91-mile-an-hour cutter. But if he is going to give up 9 hits per 9 innings and walk guys at a decent clip, he's just not as useful as Brant Herter long term. I mean, obviously, don't make that decision until you know Brant Herter is going to be healthy, because he performed really poorly in his rehab outing, and likely it's because he's still not fully well. But also, De Jesus certainly has potential to fill that role, and he's got more velocity and he's got interesting stuff. He didn't perform amazingly, but he was also not bad. And Drew Summers has that high octane fastball that I think is more in line with the direction that we should go. I like Waguespack. I actually think we have team control on him. Look into that for me, Chris. I believe we still have team control on him because I don't think he's completed even 3 major league seasons in terms of service time. So we should just be able to hold on to Waguespack without any consequence. I don't know what to do with Kyle Finnegan because he's been bad this year. But we have him under contract for another year, and he's never really been this type of bad before. It feels like this has really been an outlier season for him. Like, he's never been a high strikeout guy, but as far as I'm aware, yeah, like I'm looking at him.
What'd you ask on Waguespack?
If we still have service time on him.
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
Like if he's still going to be in the organization automatically next year.
Okay, I got you. Team control. I got you.
Yeah, team control. Thank you. Like, for example, it's been a long time since Kyle Finnegan has had a whip even close to this range, but this is the highest of his career, 1.55. And It's the highest. Well, actually, no. It's around his normal hit per 9 rate, and it's around his normal homer per 9 rate. But the walk per 9 rate is the farthest of his career by 0.6, and his strikeout per 9 rate is the lowest of his career by 1.2. And so I'm inclined to say that some of this is just outlier stuff. The problem is, I don't really think that you can go into next season with him being the 8th inning guy automatically. I think he needs to prove himself a decent amount. Like, I'm not saying trash him, because having a veteran in the bullpen is always better than not having a veteran in the bullpen. And like Steve said, I do think that putting Vest back in the closer's role would be a good decision, assuming he does fully heal. I think Vest is still a very good pitcher. I just think he was injured badly this season, largely because he's had a massive workload the last 3 years. He just has.
So Wags Pack, because he signed a major league contract for $850,000, we have no team control after this season.
Okay. So I think it might be worth a flyer to give him like a $2 million deal, just because he's been so good. I would even give him 5, just because, again, he's been so good. But he hasn't really pitched a lot in leverage, and the one time I did see him pitch in leverage, he had a rough outing. I like Ty Madden. Stick with Ty Madden. Maybe even give Ty Madden a chance to start if you've got some injuries, because he still has good starter stuff. But here's my next question for you guys, and it'll be the last question I ask you guys before I wrap up. What do you do with Drew Anderson next year? Because we have a team option, and it's $10 million. I'll give you guys that number so you can decide whether or not it's worth it. He's been a roughly average pitcher this season by ERA+. Roughly average. He's been a plus K guy, but he's had some walks, and he's had some collapses. Do you keep Drew Anderson next season?
I'm going back and forth on him this season because, like you said, he's been up and down. Like, some moments he's looked really good, other moments he's getting kind of hammered. 10 million ain't, I mean, it's not a whole lot, but man, I would say no. I would say no. Now, if they do bring him back and give him the 10 million for the last year, next year, I'm gonna be mad per se. But I would say, man, we need a fresh. I want fresh arms, bro. I just want fresh arms. It's a few. It's a few amount of pitchers in the bullpen I would absolutely want to see on the mound for us next season. So at this point, he's not one of those names I would want to see on the mound. If he is there, I'm not mad at it. But if it was up to me, I'd probably say no. Wash it and bring some new arms in.
So remember what you said about Tyler Holton? You said that he's up in he's above, his whip is above like 1 now. It's in the low, like 1.2s, almost 1.3s.
Mm-hmm.
So Anderson is an older version of Holton. He commands literally the same value as Holton does, but he's 32. So I don't want him back on here, and I agree with Mike. I like fresh arms. It'd be different if he was doing well in a limited role and he's that veteran presence, but he doesn't. I don't think he gives you enough value to get him or to keep him.
Yeah, that's a valid point. And I mean, I'll be blunt. If we chose Drew Anderson as our number 5 guy over a free agent, I would be upset. Just straight up. And that's me as the unbiased guy, the guy who sees the potential. Drew Anderson has a ton of potential. But if he was the guy who was kept to be the number 5 starter, or he was the guy kept to be the 7th inning man over a free agent that could do the job for a similar payroll,
yeah,
I would be upset. Because there were a lot of cheap pitchers signed last offseason because they went really late and we didn't touch any of them. I mean, again, Drew Anderson was better than most of those guys, but he wasn't better every single night. And, Will Vest was better than most of the guys on the free agent market most nights when he was healthy, for example.
I mean, would you add that part to the question? My answer was based solely off him going back to the bullpen. If he's in the rotation, I will be mad as hell if he's in the rotation.
I'm fine with it right now because he has performed better in the rotation, but I would much rather Ty Madden, and I would much rather a free agent because we will be able to afford it. And Ty Madden is a more talented pitcher right now. He's younger. He's got more team control. He's got just more. I don't even know what it is because Anderson's stuff isn't bad. It's a mid to high 90s fastball with an excellent changeup, but that changeup gets hit hard. It gets swing and miss, but when it's contacted hard. So I don't expect that to change. I think that he functioned well in Korea because there's a lot more swing and miss in Korea.
Yeah.
Japan is a high contact league. Korea is a high power league. We're kind of both. And like, it hasn't really worked out for him here. And again, like Mike said, I'm not mad if he accepts if we accept the $10 million player option to be in the bullpen and to eat some middle innings. But the second that he is chosen over a starting pitcher or a leverage guy, I'm going to be mad. So I don't want that to happen. So what I'll cover as my closing point is next season, let's just take a look at what the starting rotation could look like if we did absolutely nothing. So you go into next year with Troy Melton as your number one. I don't feel terrible about that. Remove last night in the game against the White Sox, and he's been absolutely stellar. ERA still in the ones. Jackson Jobe, really high talent arm. I really like the direction he's moving in. His last start was really solid. His first start was really solid too, but I felt like he needed to build off it. His second start was not great, but I don't blame him. Start 3 was good. Build off that. You've got your veteran guy in Framber Valdez. That's great. Maybe he'll be better. Maybe he'll be the same. He probably won't be worse because things have gone really bad for him this year. And I just think he's more... He's too experienced to really get worse. I mean, the only thing that could be worse is if he gets hit harder. Or if he stops getting ground balls, which that's very unlikely. Behind those 3, currently we would have Cater Montero. I liked Montero's season. I think he's a little burnt out right now because this is a very high workload for him. The 5th guy would be any choice between Ty Madden, Andrew Sears, who's making his debut tomorrow, like I said, Drew Anderson, which I don't love. I would not love that decision. A free agent. And it's possible that at some point next season, we could see options like Jake Miller, who is currently at AAA or AA. And then also Lucas Ellisault, who recently came up to AA. And I want to talk about him for a sec because he's really interesting too. We drafted him in 2024. And he's currently ranked way lower than I think he should be. He's 25th in our system. But this year, he has gotten a nearly 50% ground ball rate. What's up?
You forgot about River Ryan. He could possibly be your one of your 4th or 5th starters.
I did forget about River Ryan. Thank you. It's been a rough week.
It's okay. It's okay. I was like, I know he's forgetting somebody, but I had to go check. I had to look around what name. I couldn't place it. But yeah, River Ryan. I mean, I would like to see him come up this year to see one outing maybe or 2. But I mean,
Me too.
But who knows?
I mean, I'm actually, to be honest with you, I would not be angry at a rotation of Melton, Jobe, Valdez, Montero, and Ryan with a veteran guy in the mix.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I want you to go out and get a dog on the market if you can, because a dog will make sure that we have 5 good starters next season.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, if you're walking into next year with a rotation looking like that, that could be worse. And also Reese Olson is another guy I forgot. If Olson can get healthy, that is a decent 6-arm mix with Ty Madden, Andrew Sears on the outside looking in, and then Ellisault, who would not start the year on the team for sure. But like I was saying, he's got a 28.2% K rate at high A, 31% chase rate, and he pounds the zone, throwing 64.4% strikes. And then he got called up to AA, and he has just looked phenomenal in 2 outings.
Which guy is this again? I'm sorry.
Lucas Ellisault.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at it right now. I was looking at him the other day, too, for some reason.
He has so far in his 2 outings, he has a 51.4% K rate. 51.4. That's half the batters.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Now, again, you could say that's just 2 outings, but very few people ever have an outing like that, where they're striking out 50% of batters. And he got very little zone contact in those 2 outings, only 62%. And he got a ton of swinging strikes. 24% of his pitches were swinging strikes. Not foul balls, not called strikes, swinging strikes. And so I think that right now our starting pitching depth chart going into next season is promising. I like it. The bullpen needs an overhaul, but I like it. I like the things that are in place. Scott Harris needs to finally commit to this team being a contender. I don't think he's done it yet. I don't think that what we've seen from him is his attempt at putting a World Series team on the field, because I think he needed to answer a lot of questions about the current core. But next season, the pieces that are in place, when supplied with some good free agent talent and some good savvy trades, could be a World Series team next year or the following year. The core is in place to accomplish that. It is now officially Scott Harris under the microscope to actually get that job done. And with that, I close.
56 minutes and 15 seconds. Awesome.
It was a productive conversation.
It was a productive conversation. That's awesome. I love it. Anything else for anybody else to talk about? We're like, Steven took up almost our whole hour. That's awesome. Mike, you have anything else that you want to say?
It was a good show. I think we talked about a lot of stuff, and I think we made a lot of discussion off of not a lot of production from the team. So I think it was pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Man, if they kept the pace and was even 500 these last 8 games, we would be probably more enthused. But man, winning only one of these games in these 3 series we just played, man, that's not good. Not good. But
you're in my opinion, between the Tampa Bay and the LA Dodger series coming up, that's I think where we end. We won't be officially knocked out, but at that point, after those 2 series, that's gonna be either we back in it or we done, because they're 2 hard teams, and they're 2, and we still got to play them. So if we can't beat them, like we shouldn't. I mean, at the rate we're going, we shouldn't beat them. But if we do, okay, well now we can beat teams that are contenders. But if we don't, then we done. I mean, we got to stick a fork in it. They'll still be playing the games, but at that point, you just gotta play the season out and you just let it go. But those 2 series coming up are going to be huge, and that's make or break. But here's a question I have. We talk about all the stuff that's going on, but I have a feeling that a lot of teams are not going to make any type of moves or anything like that until we get this salary cap floor and ceiling and this stuff hammered out. Even if they don't go to 1 next year, or they prolong it another year or whatever, but whatever they ratify for next year, I think people are just waiting on that, because you can go out and try to get Skubal, but you don't know if they're going to grandfather these contracts in. And if you go out and be like, well, you know what? It happened before the salary cap come into play. Well, tough if they do a hard cap and they don't grandfather it, $50 million of your cap's already immediately sucked up by Skubal. So I think nobody's going to make much movement. You're going to see very little movement, I think, until we start getting more into the discussion next year. I think very little movement. There'll be talks at winter meetings and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a while. What do you all think?
I'll go last on this one.
What do you think, Mike?
I agree with that. I don't expect much, man. Like until they resolve the issue, because we're heading into a lockdown, man. Everybody knows it's not even like an 8 out of 10 thing, 9 out of 10 thing. 10 out of 10 people will tell you we're heading for a lockdown, so lockout. So I don't think much movement is going to be made, trade or free agency wise, until that is resolved, because you don't know what the new rules will be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Tigers are in kind of a good position because at what I saw at what was it, like the beginning or middle part of the season when they kind of put out like the owners kind of put out like kind of like a drafted what they thought was going to be the ceiling and the floor. The Tigers fall into that category. So they have a little room to work with. So like you two were saying earlier, cutting a lot of the salary and kind of like the chub that we have that we don't need anymore. Like some of that stuff's going to fall. Verlander is going to be falling off. You know, a lot of that old salary that's going to put us right back down into the 20s again, which is perfect because we'll have some cap space available and we'll still be above the floor. So we'll be right in the prime. It's the teams above us and the teams below us that they either have to move up and get more cap or they're going to have to cut shit. But we'll see. Definitely see.
Yeah, so I honestly think now is a good time for me to kind of talk about what I want to see from this. I'll keep it brief. Ultimately, the Players Association has made it clear that as of this moment, they are not going to accept any salary cap. And I think that doing absolutely nothing about the salary cap or punishment for too high of a payroll is just not going to happen. If either side wants baseball to be played in the next 700 calendar days, there is either going to need to be removal of the luxury tax or a salary cap set in place. Because the poorer teams, no one's poor, they don't want to get that cap hit. They just don't. From the luxury tax. The luxury tax serves no purpose, in my opinion, in the modern scheme of baseball. Contracts are too expensive. So if you're not going to cap it, you can't have the luxury tax. Teams need to be allowed to spend $700 million and reap the consequences of those actions. Because as we've seen, the Dodgers being able to spend all this money was in part due to scandal and in part due to the fact that they're owned by several people. The fact of the matter is that maybe MLB teams just should be owned more like the Green Bay Packers nowadays.
That's good. Yeah. Go ahead.
But also, that is the one point why this lockdown would happen. They're actually, in my opinion, much closer in most other areas than I expected them to be. The salary floor, I think the players will eventually yield to that because you got to think in the interests of the 97%, I just have to say so. Like, you don't want a salary cap, but you also don't want a floor? That sounds ridiculous to me.
Well, I know why there would be a floor, and I absolutely I get it because now a floor pushes your base payrolls up, which helps the guys that are like, okay, I'm coming in for 11 million, but we gotta bump it up. And I know as a player that if I come in, you know, I could give me 15 million, you'll get above your floor, and then you're good to go. It helps the bottom end guys get higher up, but it also keeps teams from like the Pirates and now there are a few teams that can make the World Series off of these low budget payrolls. They do it, but they're very few and far between. You don't want ownership not to help their own baseball team and put the proper product on the field. So like you want the floor, so you make so that it pushes those cheap owners that are just making tons of money for nothing to produce nothing. And I think it'll help both of that. You know, yeah. I mean, you're right. Maybe the ceiling is a little much to ask, but there's possibility to that. Yeah, of course, the players union is going to be like, of course they're going to say, yeah, we're not doing either one of those. But then the owners are going to be like, well, we're not budgeting until you put one in place. So now we're at a standstill. Who, you know, obviously the people that are going to hurt the most are the owners because they're the ones that got to make the money for the season. So obviously they probably would fold first. But if they fold, there's going to be something else put in place that the players aren't going to like. There's going to be something. because you
Well,
can't. If I tell you I want a floor and a ceiling, or a ceiling just in general, and you don't want it, okay, well, guess what? Now we're going to do this instead. And then, well, I don't like that either. Well, you don't get both. You're good.
Yeah.
So there might be something else in place there that the players aren't going to like. Maybe they'll cap the contracts or something like that. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know what it'll be, but that's been the hard, fast thing for the owners this year.
I suppose it could be more of a year by year and contract by contract cap as opposed to a league wide cap. And I would be for that because I don't think one player should be making $1 billion more than another player because no player is worth $1 billion more in WAR than another player.
What I would like to do, what I would like to see, and this could help. I mean, you're right. The luxury tax doesn't do much because when you got owners that can afford the luxury tax with no problem, they're like, cool, give me a tax. What I would like to do is I'd like to see them not do all this deferment. 5 years,
Yeah.
5-year deal. You're paying him 5 years. You're not doing a 14 and deferring like 90% of the money when he's not on the team anymore. Nope. 5-year deal, it's a 5-year deal. A 10-year deal, a 10-year deal. 20, and you're deferring all the money to the back end 10. No, is he playing those 10 years or is he gone? If he's gone, he don't get that money. Like, so now the player's like, oh, but I got to have my money. Okay, well, then you got to be playing, Oh, but we don't want him playing because he's going to suck. Like,
Tough
you got to
titties.
Yeah, you can't have your cake and eat it too. There's got to be something in place where you can't get away with him in his prime years, and then he's gone off the team and he's getting all that money, but it doesn't go against you at all. I mean, there's got to be a way where it penalizes the team, whether it's later down the line or whether it's right now. Like, there's got to be something in place. It makes it fair for all the other teams. Granted, if you got owners that can make that money and can spend but choose not to, that's where the floor comes into play. Because now it's like, yeah, that's fine. You want to be cheap? You're gonna have to spend, and you're gonna have to hire Kenley Jensen, who's 38 years old, for $20 million because you have nothing else to sign for.
Yeah. And a lot more free agents would be signed if that were the case, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, there's got to be a penalty for it. Granted, I give it the Dodgers spending money. That's great. If my owner spent $400 million a year and we were getting, I would hate a ceiling too. But you want to keep it competitive across the league, and at the same time hold the owners accountable for the management of their ball clubs. Because fans want to go to a game where they go and they're not getting blown out every night, and they're just like, well, what's the point of me going? There's no fun, So yeah, I wish there was a cap. That's just but I mean, everybody has their own idea of like what they should or should not do. It's gonna be rough.
Yeah, I'm undecided on whether I care about a cap or not. I think it would be good for the game in some areas, but I think a floor is absolutely necessary, and I don't understand why the players are against it. And I have one more comment before I'll throw it either to Mike or have Mike ask a question because we want to hear your thoughts too. When Tarek Skubal said he wants to try to sign a contract before December, when I audibly laughed out loud.
He said that for real?
He might not have said it explicitly. That was the rumor going. That was the rumor going around. And Scott Boras is definitely trying to do that for sure.
No, that's a no. That's a no. But I wanted to touch. I forgot what you just said before that. I wanted to touch on that. I think it was the floor thing. I think they absolutely should have a floor. I'm not a cap guy. I think it's up to the owner if they want to spend money or not. We want the owners to spend money, but it's up to them. But the floor point, I think, is excellent because I do think they need a floor just for, like, let's say teams where you have owners that don't particularly spend money historically or for the last decade. You, as a player, if you want a chance, and all you need at a chance is to get in the postseason. If you want a chance at making the playoffs and going for a ring, the floor thing would be great because it would entice owners to at least spend this much money instead of just sitting there off season doing nothing.
Yep, because the Al Avila era of Major League of Tigers baseball would never have happened if there was a salary floor. Because Chris Ilitch would not have been allowed to shed $200 million of payroll and make us suffer through watching Ronnie Rodriguez play shortstop.
Mm.
Yeah, that was a terrible, terrible error.
That was terrible.
I mean, we've been through that those stretches as Pistons fans, Lions fans. Man, over the history of us being Detroit sports fans, period, that's been an issue for damn near every franchise.
I've suffered through it. I've suffered now through two Wings bad periods. Oh,
yeah, that's surprising.
The Dead Wings in the 80s. Whew, that was rough. That's worse than the Wings now. Like it. Some people say right now is worse than the Dead. No, the Dead Wings back before, like truly, like when Yzerman was a rookie, and those the years just those were terrible years. Oh, yeah. So, and when was we had the one where the Tigers set the most losses in a season?
2003.
Yeah. Ooh, that was rough too.
The early 2000s and the late 90s sucked, but I wasn't alive for the late 90s, and I was too young to be cognizant in the early 2000s, and I'm thankful every day.
That's good. You have something to look forward to, not have to look back at.
But I did miss out on Dimitri Young, which stinks.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. You'd have loved Cecil Fielder or Cecil. I'm sorry.
Oh, I would have loved Cecil. I would have. Exactly my type of slugger.
Yep.
Especially at Old Tiger Stadium when the balls were going over the ceiling.
Oh, I love. Oh, don't remind me. Tiger Stadium.
I didn't get to experience it, so.
Yeah. I missed.
Yeah, I'm with Steven on that one. I didn't get to experience Old Tiger Stadium.
I remember going to with my mom, my dad, or just my mom, just to the Tiger Stadium. It was just some. I mean, it was falling apart towards the end, but I mean, God, that was just so nostalgic. Oh, it's crazy. Oh, I miss it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Mike, you have anything else to say, man?
I don't have anything else to say. Mm-mm.
All right. I mean, I don't have anything. I can't even think of anything else to say. I mean, we're just going to ride out the rest of the season, unfortunately. I mean, I don't expect a 20-game win streak or anything like that. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's up in the air. I mean, I do not see them making the playoffs, but one can always hope. All right, Steven, tell them where they can find you at.
Yeah, you can find me at Rising Tigers on X. I also have a lot of articles in a specific Facebook group chat. I believe it's called Detroit Tigers Die Hard Fans. And I write articles there all the time. It's a good time, but you can find me on X for sure. Yeah, let's be optimistic, yo.
Always got to try to be optimistic. Hey, Mike, where you at, man?
Find me on X at OnePride_JR.
And y'all can find me on X at Crazy Hockey Fan. You can also find me on Instagram at OnePrideNation_24. And thanks for all the people watching out there. And thanks for listening. And thanks for commenting. We love the comments. Try to comment as much as you can. We'll answer the questions you post some good questions, so on and so forth. We loved it. Thank you. Don't forget. Go ahead.
One thing, actually, I almost forgot about this. You guys have been such a great audience tonight that I also would like to ask, drop in the comments if you liked the style of show that we put on tonight. Like if you liked the way that I kind of treated it like an open-ended essay. Like drop a comment if you liked it, because I will absolutely come prepared with more think pieces like this if you did.
Should have put a poll up.
It's okay. They got Twitter fingers.
We'll see. I don't know how many more people are still on here watching, though. We have to give them a few minutes to see if anybody wants to say they like it or not.
Oh, man. I'm talking even after the show. Just comment. Bandit will see it and tell me.
Yeah, even after the show. Or, you know what? When we do our next show, we can still put a poll on there.
Yeah. I like the app sessions. It's a lot better because you can think of questions to ask the group as you're talking about things. And I like it. I mean, I like the pre-designated questions too, because then we have time to research them. But I like the I like the Yap sessions.
Yeah, I like both, but this was actually kind of cool. It was kind of refreshing to do as a show, and then also when you got as much feedback as we was getting from the comment section, they was
Yeah.
asking good questions as well, so they gave us topics.
Yeah, I
And
like that.
I can definitely structure it a lot more solidly too. I definitely did all of this off the dome. I had
Mhm.
written an essay about the things we talked about today, but like I kept it pretty open ended. So if you guys like this, I'll structure it a little more so that we can get the guys involved more because I did kind of dominate the show today a little bit. My bad.
That's okay.
This show was good. I don't got a problem with it.
Just
Cool.
don't use the word essay, man. That thing ruled my college and my high school years, man. Essay.
Yeah.
We didn't have AI when we had to write essays. We didn't have AI.
That's right.
Yeah, we did not have AI. That was all off the dome, man. I hated researching. It was I love to do it now, but I hated to do it then.
Yeah, because you're choosing to research.
Well, kind of works with the job. Kind
That's
of
fair,
have to
too.
research, but God, man, 5, 7, 10-page papers. And I hand wrote those. There was no computer. It was I'm old, so I had to handwrite a lot of that stuff. But yeah, I like the structure. All right, everybody. Well, please like and subscribe to LFR on X and Detroit Fan Report. Thanks for listening. Thanks for commenting. And we out.